Let's try another couple examples here. If I were to subtract 15, I'm going to be left with 6x squared equals 8. If I divide this by 6, I'm left with x squared equals 4 over 3 when I simplify it. Okay, so far so good. Now I'll take the square root of both sides, and I'm left with x equals plus or minus, well, square root of 4 is 2 over the square root of 3. Can you leave a square root in the denominator? Can I leave a radical in the denominator? Absolutely not. Some old dude decided one day, not okay. You can't leave a radical in the denominator. So we have to deal with that now, and let's do that now, because you know what, that's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to deal with a square root in the denominator. And many of you might remember this, and this is also in that radical review. So if you don't remember how to do this and you need practice on this, I'd check out the radical review video from earlier in chapter 5. Well, what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to multiply by the square root that I see in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3 in both the numerator and denominator, because I know that the square root of 3 divided by the square root of 3, this guy right here, is just 1. So I'm really just multiplying by 1, which doesn't change anything. However, it is going to change how it looks. So I'm going to be left with plus or minus 2 root 3 over, what's the square root of 3 times square root of 3? That's the square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So I'm left with my answer, x equals plus or minus 2 root 3 over 3. And we're done with that one. So here for my decimal equivalent, I plug in 2 times the square root of 3 divided by 3 into my calculator, and I'll get x is approximately plus or minus 1.15. There's my decimal approximation. So it depends on what the question asks you for. Exact would be this guy right here. Approximate, that right there. Oh man, this time our squared part is over on the right hand side. That's crazy. But I think that we can handle something like this. Let's start by adding 8. So I get 20 equals 4 times x minus 2 squared. I want to get the squared part alone. I want to get this guy alone here. So I'm going to have to divide by 4. And I'm left with 5 equals x minus 2 squared. Now I want to take that square root so I can get rid of the squared part, and I'm left with x minus 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 5. Yeah, I switched it around a little bit. I brought the squared part over to the other side. I like when the x is on the left, so I just flipped it around. That's totally cool to do. Those are in the math laws as being okay, totally cool to do. Alrighty, let's see here. Now I'm going to add 2, so I'm going to have x equals positive 2 plus or minus the square root of 5. So remember, that's 2 solutions there. It's 2 plus the square root of 5 and 2 minus the square root of 5. So when I try to get the decimal approximation, I'm going to have x is approximately, and I plug in 2 plus the square root of 5 into my calculator, I get 4 point, and it's 236, so that 6 rounds that 3 up to a 4. And then I'll have x is approximately, and when I do 2 minus the square root of 5, I get negative 0.236, so I get 24. And there you have it. We're all set to go. So remember, you can do both exact or approximate. Decimals are approximate. The guys with the square roots up here, these are exact. So it depends on what you're asked for in the question. Sometimes you're asked for both, sometimes you're asked for only one.